Well, one is the junior parliamentary affairs minister, the other is the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, skilled politician not known for shying away from a fight. But today, shy away they did, and consistently. No one inside the BCCI meet even officially asked for Srinivasan to go. Amid all reports of heated debates and arguments and flying tempers, the truth is that the meeting couldn't have gone off better for Narayanaswamy Srinivasan. He got to stay on as president in absentia, exactly what he wanted. Srinivasan got his man, Jagmohan Dalmiya, to hold his powers while he waits out his temporary exile. Everything that Srinivasan demanded was delivered by the board in a meeting interlocuted by none other than Arun Jaitley himself.
I am disappointed, बिल्कुल totally disappointed. क्रिकेट कंट्रोल बोर्ड का वर्किंग कमेटी को ये सब करने की मुझे उम्मीद नहीं थी. अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली जो हो सकता है ना, जितना अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हो सकता है वो सब उन लोग ने कर दिया. श्रीनिवासन राजीनामा तो दिया नहीं है, तो फिर डालमिया कैसे बन गए प्रेसिडेंट?
I want to know from these leaders, why have they not been able to persuade Mr. Srinivasan to resign? And if they at all feel that Srinivasan is at fault, then why did they call for the special general body meeting and ask for his impeachment?
Well, here's what they should have done. Demanded the resignation of N. Srinivasan, failing which moved an impeachment motion. The BCCI brass should have point blank refused to allow a man accused of pilfering World Cup funds to return at a time when cleaning up the game is the priority. Imagine the message being sent out. And if nothing else worked, Arun Jaitley and Rajeev Shukla, as well as others, had the option of resigning themselves. Of course, that didn't even cross their minds. So that leaves us with some big questions. Why did no one even demand that N. Srinivasan resign? Is this interim arrangement of a panel legally tenable within BCCI rules? Can a probe panel headed by N. Srinivasan's loyalist and a man tainted by scams in the past himself conduct a fair probe? Was the meeting itself legal without the 72-hour notice being given as required by guidelines and rules that administer the BCCI? Rasesh Madani and Srisha Reddy are still live with me from Chennai. Also with me from Delhi is Atish Srivastav, who's been tracking all the political members of what has been an extremely dramatic day. First to you, Atish. Arun Jaitley appears to be the man who held all the aces all along. Rajeev Shukla tried to say that he's taking a moral position and resigning. No one really bought that. But at the end of today, the real overpowering sense, Atish, is that Arun Jaitley was the big cat. He was the one who held the aces.
Well, exactly, because if you carefully notice, these leaders were spearheading a movement against Srinivasan, and he was the one who was calling the shots as of today's meeting is was concerned, because Arun Jaitley was the person who spoke after N. Srinivasan, and he said that everyone is pained and he heard with what happened and you need to step aside until the probe is on. And after that, he was the one who gave the name of Jagmohan Dalmiya to be there as an interim arrangement till the probe is on. So it is clear that Arun Jaitley took the center stage, but definitely they had different yardsticks as far as corruption is concerned. Because they took on Congress as far as corruption is concerned. They wanted heads to roll, no compromise on that. But at this particular time, when he was the one who had to take the call,
yes,
they decided not to take resignation of N. Srinivasan. They wanted an interim arrangement, which they successfully had.
Rasesh, you know, one of the very strong senses one gets is the choice of Jagmohan Dalmiya. The only person it could possibly have riled up a little bit is Sharad Pawar. Even though Sharad Pawar has said, I'm not involved in cricket anymore, so I don't have anything to say. So, you know, even with Sharad Pawar's sort of veto, virtual veto or opposition to a person like Jagmohan Dalmiya, what are your sources telling you about how this actually, you know, came to pass?
Well, what we gather, Shiv, is there were only a couple of candidates put forth. There were a number of names doing the rounds about the Niranjan Shah and Shivlal Yadav. So it eventually came down to two names, Shashank Manohar and Jagmohan Dalmiya. Shashank Manohar name was outrightly rejected by the board president, saying that he did not want anyone outside the board, and he wanted someone like Jagmohan Dalmiya was proposed. The only man who opposed his name was again the Lone Ranger I.S. Bindra.
Yes.
But eventually Srinivasan had Jagmohan Dalmiya in place, and Jagmohan Dalmiya put in a condition that he would not be called an interim chief because that doesn't go with the constitution. He would help following his duty. This is the way Mr. Srinivasan has been able to run the board. And I'd like to bring in Shisha Reddy here because she's been following Srinivasan's movement over a period of time.
Yeah.
Shisha, you've been following Mr. Srinivasan. Did you get a sense that he knew he had a game plan in place despite all the pressure, despite the exceeding pressure?
Well, he was very clear that he does not want to step down. That was his very clear note that he has been saying. He has been reiterating that for a very, very long period of time. And this time as well, he was very clear that he would step aside. He does not want anybody to fill in his position. That was like very point that he was making this message very clear. Though we did try and speak to sources close to him. Of course, they also said that he has been trying to push this forward. And that's why they had to come down to Jagmohan Dalmiya, because he did not want anybody else to exercise those powers as now Dalmiya will be having.
What we perhaps didn't know, Shiv, that all these efforts of the anti-Srinivasan camp, now it appears was public posturing. Srinivasan knew that he did not want to go, but one gets a sense now that all that anti-Srinivasan camp do with the series of resignations may well just have been public posturing, because in the meeting no one sought a resignation of Mr. Srinivasan. The arrangement of him stepping aside pending inquiry was acceptable to one and all.
Also, one small clarification, Rasesh and Srisha. N. Srinivasan has only stepped aside temporarily while the probe is currently on. In the event that Gurunath Mayappan is found guilty, and guilt is established as far as spot fixing or betting is concerned, then what happens, Rasesh?
Well, that would get tricky, but remember the Mumbai police has also been saying categorically that they are not hinting at Mr. Mayappan's link with spot fixing. What they have been able to gather is his transcripts with the bookies, and that accounts to what we call as insider trading in the stock market. Yes. Is effectively that betting whether it is large enough offense to nail Srinivasan, whose relative may have indulged in such activity. And the problem here is that Mr. Srinivasan is still very much there. He's just stepped aside. What we also gather is that a couple of ex-retired judges are also going to be in place. So barely a third member is going to be added to the panel, which would be done by Arun Jaitley, who's part of the whole fix-up process. So in that sense, what most board officials tell us is that Mr. Srinivasan should not have too many problems once the probe is over and once eventually Mr. Mayappan gets a bail, if that were to happen by the Mumbai police.
So that's the real deal here. He doesn't seem like there's much of a problem. He's just cruised through this entire controversy, saying that he doesn't need to resign. It appears that N. Srinivasan knew all along what was really going to happen. Rasesh and Srisha, thanks for joining us. Also to Atish for getting us that update on the political members on the BCCI.